There are films that entertain. And then there are films that accidentally tell the truth about the world before the world is ready to hear it. One Cold War thriller managed to do something almost no Hollywood production has ever done. It influenced real intelligence agencies, predicted the future of surveillance, and left audiences questioning whether they were already being watched. The story behind how it got made is just as unsettling as the film itself. It arrived at exactly the right moment. Public trust had collapsed. Investigations had exposed agencies operating in shadows, answering to no one. Americans were confronting something deeply uncomfortable. The institutions built to protect them had been doing things they never consented to. Into that atmosphere walked a story about a lone analyst hunted by the very organization he worked for. It didn't feel like escapism. It felt like a warning. The central concept struck certain foreign intelligence officials as something more than fiction. Soviet operatives reportedly studied the film with genuine professional interest. The idea that open-source material, newspapers, journals, technical publications freely available to anyone, could be systematically analyzed to extract strategic intelligence resonated with them deeply. According to accounts from former intelligence personnel, the KGB modeled an actual analytical division on this concept. A Hollywood thriller born from American paranoia had inadvertently handed a Cold War adversary an operational framework. A film warning about institutional overreach became an instruction manual for a foreign intelligence service. To make the film feel authentic, a former CIA director visited the set multiple times during production. He coached the lead actor not on spy tradecraft, but on the psychology of an analyst. How they think. How they carry themselves. The particular obsessive attention to pattern and connection that defines the profession. That coaching elevated the performance beyond what research alone could have achieved. It also served a secondary purpose. He wanted to ensure the CIA wouldn't be depicted as a monolithic villain. That tension between authenticity and institutional self-interest ran through the entire production. Before filming began, the project had nearly died. An earlier version attached a different star and director who clashed immediately over tone and never found common ground. The arrangement collapsed after months of stalled development. When a new director and lead stepped in, they brought an established chemistry and a shared instinct for blending paranoia with character. That change didn't just swap names. It produced a completely different film than anyone had originally imagined. The source material also underwent a transformation that changed its entire meaning. The original story unfolded over 6 days and centered its conspiracy around criminal trafficking. The filmmakers cut the timeline in half and replaced the plot entirely with an oil conspiracy. The timing was deliberate. The energy crisis had already shaken the country. Gas lines, rationing, sudden awareness of foreign dependence. By tying the film's hidden agenda to control of oil, the writers connected the story's paranoid logic directly to anxieties audiences were already living through. Condensing the timeline meant every single scene had to earn its place. There was no room to breathe, and that breathlessness was precisely the point. The shoot itself required large-scale deception. Production began in autumn, but the story demanded a bleak winter aesthetic. The crew couldn't wait for the actual season, so they manufactured one. Teams stripped leaves from trees by hand. Streets were continuously cleared. Cinematography leaned into gray, washed-out tones. Costumes emphasized heavy winter clothing. Audiences accepted the cold completely, never suspecting the winter they were seeing had been built rather than found. The film's opening sequence almost failed to deliver on its central promise. It was shot once, delivered, and rejected. The studio sent back blunt notes. It wasn't hitting hard enough. The director returned and res-hot, emphasizing the casual efficiency of the violence and the silence that followed. A workplace transformed into something irreversible within minutes. That revision recalibrated the emotional register of everything that came after. The film's assassin could have been played as straightforwardly menacing. Instead, the actor made a choice that the character would be defined entirely by politeness. Calm, deliberate, almost courteous professionalism. He spoke respectfully even while discussing methods of ending lives. The restraint made him profoundly unsettling in a way that rage never could have. After a pivotal confrontation scene, he improvised a phone call entirely in the moment. The director watched and immediately understood he had something he hadn't scripted. That unscripted call became a window into the character's complete detachment, his ability to move seamlessly between violence and routine. It became one of the most memorable moments in the film. The romantic subplot was never part of the original vision. The director wanted the protagonist's isolation to remain absolute. The studio required a love interest, and rather than simply complying, he restructured the relationship into something morally complicated. It begins under coercion. The connection that develops is tense and shadowed. Rather than providing relief from the tension, it added another layer. The female character became a mirror for the moral compromises the protagonist was making, not a reward for surviving. The screenplay was constructed to make every answer open into more dangerous questions. Each revelation deepened the web rather than unraveling it. Characters were kept emotionally grounded within a story that might otherwise have calcified into pure mechanics, ensuring the conspiracy felt threatening not as an abstract system, but as a force bearing down on a specific and recognizable human being. Securing the film's ending required negotiating with a real institution whose cooperation nearly collapsed entirely. The climax depends on the protagonist bringing the conspiracy to a major newspaper. Using the real building and the real name required delicate discussions about portrayal and institutional reputation. Without that genuine location, the ending would have lost exactly the quality that made it land. The real newspaper transformed the finale from a thriller convention into something that felt genuinely possible. Intelligence professionals who saw the film reacted differently than general audiences. Where most viewers found the surveillance techniques thrillingly plausible, people who worked inside agencies found them disturbingly accurate. Many assumed the filmmakers had received inside information. The truth was stranger. The production team had largely guessed, extrapolating from public knowledge and logical reasoning. Their guesses aligned closely enough with actual capabilities that the film felt like exposure. The filmmakers hadn't revealed secrets. They had simply imagined possibilities that happened to mirror reality. What makes the film's legacy genuinely remarkable is what it predicted without intending to. Analysts mining open-source information for strategic patterns. Rogue units operating outside oversight. Private contractors blurring government and corporate lines. Information control as a primary tool of power. All of it foreshadowed developments that would come to define the intelligence landscape in the following decades. The writers weren't prophets. They were extending the anxieties of their moment forward along a logical trajectory, and in doing so, they accidentally sketched the architecture of what was coming. Half a century later, the questions this film raised have not become historical curiosities. They have become more pressing. Who controls information? Who decides what gets exposed and what stays buried? Whether individuals can meaningfully resist institutional momentum when that institution has already decided the outcome. The film never answers those questions. That's precisely why people are still watching it.